what we're going to talk about during this time, I want to cover 4 main sections with you. Talk about support perspective, okay? I want to apply the Bible, and how does the Bible fit into this? What is the Bible, what does it have to say about this subject? And what you're going to find out is it's all over the place. I want to pull out relevant points. We're going to talk about principles. What are fundraising, support raising principles that we can pull out? And then we're going to talk about, okay, what's the process, Andrew? So we start with name storming, we go into letter writing, we have some follow-up phone calls and so on. How does this happen? That's the major how-to section. And then finally, preservation. How to have a continuing investment. Now, if you'd like to write those down, you can write those down on 6 there at the top of our goals of where we're headed. Support perspective, support principles, support process, and the support preservation. So, how to keep a support team and not just go around asking for money every couple of years and using people and abusing those relationships. But what does it mean to care and to cultivate and to shepherd people over the long? We're going to jump into a little preface section, and this is what I want. This is what I want you to be mindful of. We must view support raising as such a reward that to withhold it from potential partners is doing them a great disservice. And if you were like me when I started out, and if you're like any other normal person in the world, you probably don't think that way. Okay, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to ask them. What are they going to think? What are they going to think about me? They probably don't have a lot of money. I'm going to be a beggar, blah, 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 blah. But I'm hoping by the end of our time that you would come away believing and thinking and knowing to withhold this opportunity from them is doing them a disservice. And so I am selfish, not selfless, when I withhold the opportunity to ask people to engage them to buy into a vision. And so what I want to do is I want to start out with this guy. He's on the front. He's on the front of your packet. He's scattered throughout this packet. But let's make some observations about this guy and about support raising in general, about maybe common thoughts that come to us. But what do we notice about this guy? Make some observations out loud.
He's stuck.
He looks stressed.
He's stuck. All right. What else?
He looks stressed.
He looks totally stressed. Exactly.
He looks at it as a heavy weight that the volunteer.
Yeah, obviously. He's chained to this huge weight called support. You can't get this monkey off his back. What else?
He's self-medicating with coffee.
There he is, self-medicating with coffee. He's like, maybe coffee will do it. And it's a coffee cup, but what's coming out the top? It's a coin. So what's he resorted to? Begging. That's not what we want. All right, what else do we know about this guy?
He's overwhelmed.
He's overwhelmed. He's not standing. What's he doing? He's sitting, so he's given up.
He's worrying.
He's what?
Worrying.
Yeah, he's worrying. He's down here. What am I going to do? Oh me, oh my. There's no sort of posture. He's kind of looking at himself. He's infatuated with thoughts on himself. He's probably doesn't have his mind on his God, on what he can do for him. Who's around him? Nobody. He's doing this all alone, isn't he? Now, that's not what we want. What does it mean to raise support and to raise a team of supporters is not to be anything like this. All right, it's not to be alone. It's not to give up. It's not to think about self. It isn't this ball and chain like I just need to get over this hump. Give me this $2,000 and then I can go have fun in Ireland or Germany or wherever else. That's not what we're looking to do. This is an incredible opportunity. This starts the process. I want you to say the privilege of going on a trip starts now with this process. And to forego this process and just let me just get in the money, let me go through the motions so I can really go do ministry, you're not going to be as near as prepared on the field if you don't do this as if you would have done it. So what you're going to do now in the supporter raising process is going to prepare you for what you're going to do in these countries. And I don't want people going on short-term mission trips who haven't raised their support. I'll just say that right now. Because they're not near as prepared and haven't earned marks of faith and experience about casting a vision of getting people on their team, because that's going to pay dividends when you're trying to have evangelistic conversations over in another country, and when you're trying to initiate to people, and you're relating them, and you're painting a vision of God, and you're asking them for a decision. All of these have parallels, and want you to see that. And so, there's really 2 ways to look at this process, and this same diagram's on page 5 for you. There's 2 ways to look at this process. This is kind of a you thing, like I just need to get people to support me, I need to pad my pockets, I need to meet my support deadlines. They say I need 10 people who are going to pray for me, so I need to do this. Or there's a way to look at it where it is about you, and it's about Christ, and it's about others. And what I want to put before you is I want you to look with this second perspective There is something in it for you, for Christ, and for others. And that's how we're looking at this thing. And that's why to withhold it from others is to take worship from God the Father and to discount opportunity and privilege and blessing for other people, not only yourself. So if you have the perspective of this is just about you, I don't think you're going to get your support raised. You might. You do a real shoddy job of it and use and abuse people the whole way, and you won't get hardly anything out of it. Or you're living with the view of, man, there's something in it for Christ, for others, and me. And I want to fight to show you, to paint a picture of what that looks like for you in the Word. And where do I get it? I get it from Philippians chapter 4. It's down there at the bottom on page 5. Paul says, not that I seek the gift. I just don't seek the gift, but I seek the fruit or the profit that increases to your credit, Philippians. So the Philippians are given to Paul, and he says, it's not that I really seek this gift. By you giving to me, I'm seeking profit and blessing and happiness that is coming to your life because of it. So that's where he's after others. And then he says, but in the process, I have received full payment and more. So not only the Philippians, others have received something. Paul is saying, I've definitely received something. My provisions have been met. He says, I'm well supplied, having received from Epaphroditus the gift you sent. And what is it? It's also something for God in Christ, right? It's a fragrant offering, a sacrifice acceptable and pleasing to God. And my God will meet every one of your needs according to His glory and riches in Christ Jesus. So you see these three areas that supporter raising is not just for Paul. It's for others and it's for God Himself. And it has dividends that pays for all three of those angles.